Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Nerdpocalypse Podcast. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
All right, guys, just the two of us this week. So we're going to get right into it. Checked out this week. I've not had a chance to watch X-Men Episode 6, unfortunately. I know, not doing my due diligence. My bad. But I did have a chance.
Real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick. X-Men was good. It wasn't my favorite episode, but it wasn't my least favorite episode. There are two things regarding X-Men in this episode. One, it's the continuation of that Storm story.
Okay.
And two, the thing that kind of made me fall off of X-Men the first time around, you get space stuff. So I think you are a fan of X-Men space stuff.
I am, yeah.
So space stuff is there. Space stuff isn't bad. It's just not the way I prefer my X-Men.
It's not my favorite aspect of the X-Men. Mine is beating the piss out of the Friends of Humanity, if I'm being honest. That's the stuff I like the most.
You know how X-Men and comics in general have always been quote unquote woke.
Yes.
We get another very, very, subtext is text, message,
Right.
about colonialism. And it is hilarious to see. And it just reminds me of, were all these messages this blatant back when we were like children? Because
in the comics or on the show?
Either.
I definitely don't think so on the show. Comics probably, but we were dumb, right? Like you didn't just get it.
Right. Well, I think the show is like realizes that people are dumb, and we just didn't get it because, like, going back and watching this as a 40-something-year-old man, I'm like, Jesus Christ! Like they're not even hiding it. Like they're not hiding it. So how can people not get it? You just need like an iota of critical thinking.
Well, and I think you're asking a lot of some people, a lot.
So yeah, it'll be quite interesting to get your reaction to the subtext is text, and it is in bold and italicized and underlined and in fucking Times New Roman, just to make sure that you see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Look, I'm not mad at that. People's media literacy is pretty bad. I just saw I saw someone commenting on a video. It was some chud who was like, here is an article showing that Disney has not made back the money that they spent on Star Wars in their theatrical releases. And so the guy was like, so you're telling me that Disney didn't make back $4 billion in 4 movies? Oh no, they're terrible at this. Like, and he basically was like, one, Star Wars is more than just the movies. Like, merchandise is a big part of it. And also, the prequel movies didn't make, like, he was basically like, if you move the prequel movies based on inflation, they couldn't buy Star Wars. So, by your argument that Disney is ruining Star Wars financially, like, no, it's making more money. It's not making less money. Like,
I mean, it's always people that don't know shit about business who want to talk to you about business, who think that, like, to have a successful business, you need to be in the black at all times.
At all times. Like, no.
Like,
hey guys, what do you think Black Friday is? Do you know what that means? Yeah.
Have you ever heard of a company called Amazon? They don't make a lot of fucking money, guys. Like, but
they make a lot of money, but
they make a lot of money.
They break,
but they're not
even.
Always profitable, right?
They make it break.
Right. So it just, yeah, it's funny, man. It's funny. It's very Trumpian in a way that, like, well, they treat money like a high score, and
Right.
as long as you're in the black, then you're doing good. And look, that's not to say if you're in the red, you know, that's good, but
Like
I'm gonna need
business,
people. I'm gonna need people
yeah,
to chill.
businesses are
I'm
well,
gonna need people to chill.
businesses are complex, and like you don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, again, they didn't just buy the movie rights. He sold everything to them.
Right? They bought
That's why
all
like,
of Star Wars,
yeah,
dude.
that's why it's
all of Star Wars.
And somebody in the comments made a perfect point. They probably made enough money on Grogu toys alone. Like, what are you talking about?
Right. Like
okay.
I just bought my son a Kai Brightstar lightsaber. Like
Most of the people listening to this don't even know who that
don't
is.
know who the fuck that is. Right. You don't know who that is. That's how big the Star Wars is.
Yeah.
So
it's the biggest franchise ever. Don't worry. Disney's fine. Like, okay, like relax. We get it. You really love Star Wars, but like you don't know what you're talking about. It's a very silly point. All right, so look, I'll give my thoughts quickly on Fallout. You guys talked about it last week. I had a chance to actually watch the first couple episodes. I like it. I like it a lot. It's very good. I like the principal cast. The aesthetic is. Look, I've never played the Fallout games, but I've seen them. The aesthetic is weird in exactly as I would assume people want. Like it seems like a pretty good one-for-one copy of the games. I'm thoroughly impressed how good the Pip Boys look and like the sort of the general blue suits that they wear and everything else. Like the quality of the show looks very good. I like the storytelling. It's a bit goofy, but so is Fallout seemingly. Yeah. I don't have any complaints. I'm definitely going to continue watching the series. I feel like if you're a Fallout fan, I'd be shocked if you did not like this. But yeah,
I was interested in getting your take as someone who has not played any of the games. The translation from game to television show is actually very, very good. Because there's a lot of walking around and talking to people. And when it's time to fight, it's super violent. Like even the slow-mo scenes in the show for some of the fighting, that is a mechanic in the game called the VAT system, where you can pinpoint different limbs of a body to kind of take out for critical hit damage or whatever. And look, Fallout has always been like a pretty healthy mix of decent gameplay and decent storytelling. You got you have your factions, you have your companions, and that are represented in the show. And yeah, man, Walton Goggins is really good. He's a very I just finished episode 3 and I'm like, oh damn, like that's who he is, right? He has a tragic little story. And yeah, man. And it's super violent. Like I can't get over the violence, man. Like it is not for the faint of heart in terms of like gore and shit. And I love it.
Yeah, I like that first episode was jarring. It's like, oh, they're raiders, okay, and then shit just like popped off immediately. Like with the thing she like hits him in the jaw with and everything. I was like, Jesus Christ, okay, like wow. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I would say it's quiet as it's kept, but Amazon seems to really be nailing all of the IP that they get their hands on for the most part. Like I can't really think of an Amazon show that I think has really kind of shit the bed.
Well, I think it's because we only watch like the top tier Amazon IP, right? Yeah, like because there's a lot that they just kind of buy up, and then there's a lot that's just kind of there. But if they want to, if they decide that they want to put money into something, they usually knock it out of the park.
Yeah,
which is very, very good. So yeah, this show was great. Does Amazon have God of War? Do they have God of War?
I want to say they do. Let me see. I
So
think I
it'll
think that is I think that is it.
if they put that kind of money behind it, that'll be a very very that's a very
Yes,
good thing.
that's them as well.
Okay, that's a very good thing then. So yeah, man, Amazon killing it, Apple TV killing it. Like they're creating more of the prestige streaming shows
Yeah.
that I expect from like an HBO.
I mean, not that
So
HBO is still
right,
doing top
HBO is
ratings.
still right. HBO is still like firing on all cylinders, but HBO has very good stiff competition now. Like when
Yeah.
Emmy time came around, it would always be like, okay, whatever 9 o'clock show on Sundays is getting the Emmy for best
Right.
television series or
Right.
whatever, right? But I feel like we're in the middle of television's like absolute like a renaissance
Yeah.
for television, which is wild. While movies continue to fucking shit the bed, but
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with movies. I mean, I think people are also overly cynical about going to the theater too. Like, I mean, I'm part of that. Um, but I feel like there's so much money and talent that's being driven into TV that it's kind of like people are like, maybe I'll do a movie here and there, but like because I feel like maybe the checks are not as big, obviously, as a movie, but
it's
there's
also
more
steady
checks.
work,
Right, there's more
right?
checks. Like you don't have to be like, let's hope this one makes it. Like you can just be like, no, I'm just gonna do this, 10-part miniseries for Apple TV or an ongoing series for Apple TV that's 10 episodes each year, right? You work real hard and then you take a year off, right? So
And I got to
I don't know.
imagine if you're I got to imagine if you're a showrunner that it's a little more fulfilling to be able to tell a story, a full,
Right.
complete story, as opposed to the time constraints of a movie, unless you're one of these asshole directors that wants to put out one version of a movie and then knowing that you're going to put out another version of a movie and then the sequel to the first version and then a sequel to the second version and then a black and white version and then a color version of both combined, and then a color version of the extended versions both combined, and then a black and white version of the two of those.
Please tell me that's not the story you put on the docket.
No, no,
Okay, I was gonna say, dude, I will fight you. Like that's ridiculous. Yeah, that guy really needs. That guy needs an editor, like a mental editor. Just be like, please stop. Just for the love of God, please stop. You know who we're talking about. So, yeah, look, Fallout was good. I will continue to watch it. I'm enjoying it a lot. I saw people being mad that like the female lead isn't like sexy enough, which I thought was weird. Like, I thought that
Have they
was-
played Fallout, yo? Have they played Fallout? Like, because
well,
those character models are not like
they're not
good
hot.
looking.
No, they live in a vault. Like, but also at the same time, you immediately in the first episode, it was like, oh yeah, we're gonna get married. And she was like, let's bang. I was like, oh okay. Like, what are y'all complaining
Yeah, but
about again?
she's doing it as a sense of like duty to humanity. You know what I mean? Like she's fucking her cousin in that first
No,
episode. She's like,
they're light cousin touching. I was like, this is really weird. This is very strange. That constant like line was just really funny to me. But yeah, look, I'm enjoying it. I think it's very good. If you haven't checked out Fallout, you definitely should. All right, topics this week.
Ma and Pa Kent have been cast in James Gunn's Superman. The Superman cast features Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, getting top billing in this article over David Corenswet as Superman. And other people in the cast include Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern, Isabella Merced as Hawk Girl, Edie Gathegi as Mr. Terrific is in this movie.
Yeah.
Maria Gabriela de Farina is the engineer. Anthony Kerrigan is Metamorpho. There's a lot of characters in this movie. And Jimmy Olsen and Perry White, played by Wendell Pierce, is in this.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the casting, which is excellent casting, by the way.
Yeah, I like how Perry White's just black now, guys. Like he's just like Zack Snyder made him black, and now he's black.
Yep.
And it's
nothing
funny.
You can do about it.
There's nothing you can do about it. And look, if you wanna complain about it, guess what? Your Lord and Savior Zack Snyder did it first. So
think about it.
Go talk to him, I guess. The man playing Jonathan Kent is Pruitt Taylor Vince. You may know him from such films as Identity and Heavy and The Walking Dead.
He was also on Heroes, if I recall, as well.
Oh, is this the? Oh no,
telepath. He was like a villain. He was like kind of like a telepath type character on Heroes.
I was getting this guy confused with I was getting this guy confused with the big dude from what's that show that made everybody cry? I can't remember. The one with Sterling K. Brown.
Oh, This Is Us?
This Is Us, yeah. I was
oh, no, not that guy. That guy's an awesome actor, by the way. I know who you're talking about. Who played Taserface. He played Taserface.
Yeah, he played Taserface, yeah. Look, I've seen some of the stuff that this guy's been in, but I don't remember him in any of it. So
he was Casper Abraham in Heroes. He was like a protagonist. He was an evolved human with the ability to manipulate the mind. Yeah, I remember him because I think I remember his death or something like that. I've seen him in a couple other things. He's a very good actor, actually. I like that they're going with like legitimately real homely looking people to be his parents in this. I think it actually works really well. I think that's cool. No offense to that guy. I'm not trying to be a dick about it, but like this guy is not he's not like a hot Pa Kent type of situation.
Yeah, he's not. You will never confuse him for a leading man in some sort of action movie, right? Like he's not Kevin Costner, who played Ma Kent. Was it Diane Lane or somebody like that?
Right. Yeah, they got like two big names. Like, no, they're not. They're not. They look wholesome. Like these two people are whole. And actually, if you slide down just a little bit in this article, like the link to the second one is right there. The Ma Kent.
For Ma Kent. Ma Kent is being played by Neva Howell. You may know her from such things as The Resident.
I don't know this woman at all.
Yeah, I don't know this woman at all. Which is great. For me, apparently she was in Logan Lucky.
I know who. Okay, I've seen her in other things. Okay, yeah, her hairstyle's wildly different in that one image. Okay,
but like you said, you know, you get some good salts of the earth looking people.
They look like they're from the Midwest.
Yeah, she was born in Georgia, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And where's this guy from? Where's Pa Kent from? From Baton Rouge. So, you know, Southern, not quite Middle America, but like Southern. And that's what you kind of need, right? Because I need Superman just to be. I'm so excited for the Superman, dude. I'm so excited, and I think people are gonna hate it. I think people are gonna hate it because I think James Gunn knows Superman, and I think his Superman is going to be the near polar opposite of what Henry Cavill's Superman was, and that James Gunn's Superman, I think, is going to be just so wholesome And I don't think there's going to be a lot of I don't know if there's going to be a lot of fighting. To be perfectly honest with
No,
you,
I disagree with that. No,
I think there's going to be a lot of character moments in this.
Oh, that I would agree with. Yeah, I would agree with that. The reason,
I mean, I'm not saying there's not going to be fight. Right? There'll be 3 action scenes in this movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Like there'll be right 3 major action scenes, but everything else is going to be like, wow, that Superman guy, he really changed my life. Wow, and not just like by saving you, but like by being there for you. Because what people don't understand, everyone tries to relate to Superman, and you can't relate. Superman is not a character to be related to, right? Like you're not supposed to relate to him. You're supposed to be inspired by him, right?
He's a god.
But not even as a god, right? Like, because gods generally are hyper insecure and like they want you to worship them as gods. I'm just a guy from Kansas, just doing the right thing, and I think we need that right now, especially right now. Jesus fucking Christ! I mean, and I think people are gonna just reject that shit whole cloth. It would be like if Jesus Christ came back and people were like, who you voting for? And if they say anything other than their guy, then they're going to be like, nah, you ain't Jesus. You an imposter. Shoot him. See if he comes back again. That's how you prove you're the real Jesus.
And then shoot him again. Shoot him until he stops moving. Yeah, no, look, I think you're right to some extent. I think Gunn understands these characters deeply, right? I think he is not just like, oh, I like Superman. No, Gunn is a serious comic book nerd. Like, he is, but not so much that he doesn't get the text and the subtext, which is what makes him quite smart as a director and as a writer. But what I think you're likely going to see is partially what you're talking about, which is this like unbelievable rejection because he is like too nice and not grimy enough, like Snyder made Superman, which was actually incorrect for the character. But I think the love for this version is going to be equally as strong. I think what's going to end up happening is it's going to be incredibly polarizing, and I think there are going to be people who are like, he should be harder and punch harder and knock people through buildings and all this other stuff, and then other people are going to be like, this is the greatest Superman I've ever seen. Finally, they nailed it. Like, I think you're more likely to see his Superman, Gunn's Superman, be much more like Christopher Reeve's Superman than not. Like I know people get hung up on the special effects of that. Like, it came out in like late 70s, like 78.
It was quite impressive for something that came out before you were born.
Right. Like, what the fuck? Like, come on, guys. Like, it was like a year after Star Wars came out or something like that, right? So, like, if you get past the hang up of the special effects, like, oh, he looks really lame when he's flying. If you get past that, but you look at the character, they nailed it. Like, they nailed Superman so well in those movies. Like, it's not the fighting and everything that matters, right? It's kind of the dorky moments, right? Those are the actual moments that you remember, that work. Yeah, he throws the S and that's fucking stupid, sure. But when he shows up, like that moment in, Superman 2, where they put him in the chamber and they're like, we're going to fucking zap all your powers. And he goes into the chamber and, he comes out and he still has his powers, but like the bad guys don't, the Kryptonians don't. And he goes, yeah, I actually reversed the thing, and the light outside was taking their powers and the light inside, I was fine. And it's such a dorky fucking moment. And he like grabs the guy like as he's punching and like just crushes his hand. It's like, that's the dorky shit you want. Like, because that's who he is. He's supposed to be a nerd with this immense ability, but like on the surface or like deep down, he's just a fucking nice guy. He's supposed to be like that, but he could also throw you to the fucking moon, right? If he wanted to, but he doesn't. So
yeah, he has all the powers of a god and chooses not to use them. Like, that is inherently interesting. as a character quirk,
Right.
because none of you would do it.
Right.
None of you would have that kind of restraint.
Right. Everybody else would be Batman. I got all the resources to do it. I'll beat the shit out of people. Like, yeah. Like, that's what you do. Like, oh shit, I got a jet? Hell yeah, I'm gonna fly a jet around and beat up criminals. This sounds awesome, right? Like,
Right.
Of course. So the idea of understanding who that character is, I think that's where Gunn is going to shine. I think you're right. There's going to be a lot of character moments. But the talk is, and Gunn has said this, that the movie is split between like Superman as Superman. And that's why there's like Metamorpho and Mr. Terrific and all of those characters are like established as his superhero friends. And then he also has this other half of him of being this regular guy as Clark Kent. And like, how does he balance that world? That's a deeply interesting way to handle the first Superman story. Also, it's the story to kick the universe off. So you're not starting from ground zero. You're jumping in sort of in the middle of a story, which is, again, if you think about it, that's incredibly smart because, as we've always said on this show, comic books are all second act. They are.
Yeah.
So Gunn is not starting in the first act. He's like, yeah, he's Superman, whatever. Let's get to the shit, right? You're not going to spend 45 minutes where he's like learning to fly. You don't have to. He's already Superman. So, look, I like this casting by Gunn for Mom Podcast. They look like regular ass people, and they're not superstars. Like, because they shouldn't be the focus. They're not the focus. Give him some wholesome ass parents who you can go, that's where he gets his identity from. Makes total sense. Not, oh, I mean, you don't have to help those kids. Maybe you should have let them drown. I don't know. Like,
that's so weird, yo. That's so weird. Like, I get it, right? Like, everyone should pull themselves up by their own bootstraps or whatever. But like, yo, people are in danger, yo. Like, like help them. Jesus fucking Christ.
Pa Kent was like, whoa, let me die. Like,
right.
Like, save
like
me.
why do we have firefighters and cops and paramedics and doctors if that's the case, right? Like,
yeah,
like,
those should be private services that everyone pays for. In my world, if your house is on fire, you should pay the fee. Pay the fee.
I usually don't say this. I usually reserve it for Dense Pixels, but I will modify for this show. Jay, get your politics out of my pop culture. It's just
get your politics out of my Superman story. So much so that they made Red Sun. Let's make it even more political on the other end. Let's see how it works.
Keanu Reeves is going to voice Shadow the Hedgehog in Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I gotta tell you, man, when I first saw, look, I'm not a big Sonic person. I was a Mario guy. I have played a couple of the games, and I know who Shadow is vaguely.
He's the one with the blicky, right?
He's the one with the blicky and the roller skates. He kind of glides. He doesn't really run. He kind of glides on his shoes. So he's quite literally black, carries a gun, and knows how to roller skate. This is the blackest fucking character I've ever seen in my entire life. What the fuck is this Asian man doing playing this black ass character? Yo,
nah, this should. This should have been like Delroy Lindo.
Right, like they got Knuckles right, because he's got dreads and he's aggressive, right? So you get an African, right? Like there's Ugandan. Everybody remembers Ugandan Knuckles, right? You get an African to play Knuckles, but I gotta imagine that a different. I didn't picture this voice for this character, but you know, Keanu Reeves. Look, we're gonna have a conversation. We're gonna have a heart to heart. Okay. I love Keanu Reeves. You love Keanu Reeves.
I do, in fact.
Everybody loves Keanu Reeves. He seems like genuinely the nicest person ever. This guy is not a good actor. He's not. He's not. and you could tell, and even in something like Cyberpunk, where he voices Johnny Silverhand, you can kind of tell that he's reading, and he does a good job. Don't get me wrong, he does a good job, but he's kind of just Keanu Reeves. Like, remember in what was that movie where he threw on a Southern accent? Was that the Al Pacino movie?
The Devil's Advocate.
Yeah, where he's trying to show his range.
Wasn't he supposed to be from like Georgia or Texas or something?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here, yo. No, his Southern accent left quite a lot to be desired.
Yeah, man. So I'm just saying, like, I love Keanu Reeves, man, but like this is one of these instances as a person who appreciates the art form of voice acting. This is one of those instances where they just got a big name to come in and read some lines, and there are hundreds of other actors who use their voice as their instrument to bring animated characters to life. And I just wish some opportunities like in big stuff like this would go to them. But I'm off my soapbox.
Yeah, look, I agree. He's not the greatest actor. He is a fun actor to watch. That's what I will say. I think you know what I think it is? I think Keanu Reeves is a very good physical actor, right? Like action roles.
Absolutely.
Like
he is dedicated, right? Like he will like he takes it seriously. And when you sign Keanu Reeves, you will take solace in the fact that you will get 110% out of Keanu Reeves.
Yep. But when it comes to sort of like dramatic kind of roles or the talky parts, it's just never been a big thing for him. But at the same time, and look, I mean, it's honestly, I think this is a real decent assessment of his career. He's so goddamn likable, you don't care. You really don't care. Yeah. You're like, all right, like, I mean, you're not delivering the best lines here in this John Wick franchise. There's 4 of them. But I'm not here for that. I just want to see you like kick ass and like shoot guns and shit. Look, 100% of the reason he got this role of Shadow that carries a gun is because of John Wick. Like, I refuse to believe there's any other reason. They're like, who's the most famous person we can think of that keeps that thing on him? And they were like, all right, why don't we just call John Wick up? And they were like, all right, cool, no problem. But at the same time, look, I think this person that it's very obvious who I'm going to name here, is also in the same camp, a better actor when the time comes for it. But I think Nick Cage is in the same category. I think a lot of times he don't really give a fuck. Like, he's doing a lot of bullshit movies. Like, they feel like it's tax time, so I gotta knock this shit out. But when it comes to like, when it's a script he really loves or something that he really thinks deserves this really hardcore effort, he'll put it up and he'll do quite well on it. But the difference is, or the similarity between him and Reeves is he's also so goddamn likable. People just go, I don't give a shit. I like him. And that's just a part of who he is.
Here's a telltale sign that you're about to get a good performance out of a Nicolas Cage movie. He's a producer. If he's a producer, not an executive producer, but he's a producer. Yep. If he's a producer, he's probably got skin in his game, and he's probably going to turn in a performance that shows the talent that he actually possesses. Like that last movie he was in. I mean, look.
What movie?
I'm only
Dream Scenario.
Yeah, Dream Scenario. Look, I'm only half joking when I talk about how much I really enjoyed Nicolas Cage's work. I actually really do. Like, that guy is weird, but he's committed. And
yeah, he produced Dream Scenario.
What did I tell you? Like,
he produced Pig. Pig was excellent. Pig was excellent. Okay. Like, it was a really good movie. It's a heartbreaking film, but it's really, really good. It is.
Right. So yeah, and you know what he didn't produce? Drive Angry. Now look, as much as I like that silly ass movie,
It's fucking pretty
like
silly.
it's not like he goes through most of it not talking. You know what I mean? There's one movie he did that I saw,
Yeah, he didn't talk the whole
literally
time.
zero dialogue.
That was recent. Like I forget what the movie
Yeah,
was. Yeah, it was
it
recent.
was like a bunch of kids in a like abandoned amusement park or some shit.
Oh,
I
that
don't
was his
know.
Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna say nothing. Fuck this movie." He didn't give a shit about that film. But look, you gotta respect both of their ability to like their personalities are so whether you want to call them wacky or interesting, they draw in audiences. They just do just by who they are fundamentally. But people like them. They just like them, and they've made both of them have made some fucking turds, and they've also made great films. But yeah,
I like to think that
people should really see Pig, man. Pig was excellent. Like it was really good.
I like to think that those two guys have a real call of the wild.
Oh God. Yo, I was on a call. I was on a film call for one of his movies, and he said that, and I was like, "The fuck? Who talks like that?" Nicolas Cage talks like that for real. In real life, he talks like that, which is wild. But he is also an Oscar winner. You think he'll get an Oscar? You think he'll get one more? I feel like he's got one more in him.
I think he's got one more in him. He's only 60, and he's got plenty of time to and look, if he continues on a streak of quality over quantity, then yeah, I think he can get another one.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to let's see. Okay, let's see the movies that he was also a producer on. All right. He's got a movie coming out called Arcadian. It's an action horror film. So I don't know. Sympathy for the Devil. Oh, that was that one.
Christ.
Your theory might not be that
All right,
great.
my theory might be a little shaky, guys.
Okay.
My theory might be a little shaky.
No, but Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, right? People really actually enjoyed that. Pig, Willy's Wonderland. That's the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. He was also a producer on that.
Oof. All right.
Now granted, I don't know if he was executive producer, but then, he didn't produce anything before that until 2012. Or actually, no, that was producer only. He didn't also produce anything. Oof, Bangkok Dangerous. Disaster. Oh, good Lord. And next. Oh, fuck me. Jesus
Well,
Christ.
look.
The Wicker Man.
No.
Okay, all right. Things getting out of hand.
Guess what? You know the Wicker Man. That's when you hear the Wicker Man, that's the version you think about.
Lord of War.
You don't think about the original. Lord of War is actually really good.
I like that movie. It's dumb.
See, you can tell when Nicolas Cage was going through his tax trouble, okay?
Yes, you can.
Just look at the producer. Just look at the producer list, right? From Lord of War and The Wicker Man to the Dresden Files to Next to Bangkok Dangerous
that was
to
a rough
Sorcerer's Apprentice. Yeah, like that's he had a lot. He had a lot.
Look, no. Let me tell you the worst. Let me tell you when his financial trouble started. Okay, you can go to Nicolas Cage filmography on Wikipedia. You can see it quite easily because they got a third column just called notes, and there is a hell of a run of video on demand films. Okay, like this is a hell of a run. I guarantee you, most people don't know 90% of these movies. Starting in 2000, we'll go back to 2014. Rage, Dying of the Light, The Runner, Pay the Ghost, USS Indianapolis, Men of Courage, Army of One, Arsenal, Vengeance, a Love Story, Inconceivable, which he also produced, incidentally. Oh, God, Mom and Dad. God, that movie was terrible. Looking Glass, The Humanity Bureau, 211, Between Worlds, and then 2019, it was a rough year. Running with the Devil, Kill Chain, Primal, Grand Isle, Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah, and then things started getting better. I think that's right. 2020 was when he was like, all right, I think I'm out of debt. And then he started doing like real movies.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, he did The Croods, which was very good. He was actually very good in that. Pig, Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, Renfield. You know, he's got quite a thing. Quite a
All right, so maybe my theory is off by a couple dozen movies, but
I think I think you're right when you look at from like 2020 on. For the most part, he only produces the stuff that I think he actually gives a shit about. It may not have turned out well, but he actually gives a fuck about it. He thinks it actually was worth it to him. So there you go. All right, next up.
Fallout is officially renewed for a season 2 by Amazon, which is not surprising. Fallout has gotten critical and commercial acclaim. Everyone who has watched it seems to love it. The Fallout has had such an impact in the zeitgeist that they are re-releasing Fallout 4 with a new HD pack to kind of capitalize on this new Fallout fandom. That game came out in 2015.
Wow.
And they are trying to revive sales for this game and get people playing it, because like you got to strike while the iron's hot, right?
100%.
And you know, it also gives Bethesda another reason to re-release a game, which they are love to do that. They are, you know, quite known for. Right. All right, good. Fallout. Look, I'm only on episode 4, but I'm loving everything I see, and yeah, can't wait to. So in the world of Fallout, New Vegas is like the best game.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the top of the top. Right?
So I'm wondering, and I haven't.
New Vegas was an offshoot of 3, correct?
Yeah, it was kind of like I think it was kind of a spinoff of 3. And the way Fallout works is you're in like this. I think you're in the same world, just in different locations. Each game takes place in a different location.
Yeah, and you start out in like a different vault, right? They're always
yeah. So I'm curious if the show is going to follow suit, right? Like, is the show going to give us different locations, but like it's also a wasteland, so you have to kind of figure out a way to gussy up the wasteland to make it look different. I don't know. We'll see.
I'd be shocked if they kind of went with an anthology sort of perspective, just because I think people really like I feel like they would have announced that going in, you know, so like don't get too attached to these characters because it's going to change next year.
Well, I don't know if they knew they were going to be renewed, right? They only just officially got the renewal.
Yeah, but I feel like they kind of knew.
I mean, it's Jonathan Nolan, and he probably has enough confidence to be like, we're going to get another one.
Right. So, and let's be honest, Amazon's making it and they put it on their platform. They already know. Like, yeah, they're just like, maybe it's like, okay, we're only giving them 2 and then we'll see. But they know whether or not, they've seen it all and they can understand the quality type of shit. And again, they nailed it with The Boys. I think they could probably figure out like, who is this going to hit for, right? Like once you start having that kind of information of all of these streaming services having so much information on the people watching it on streams, they know what they like, and they, consistently they already have basically built into the algorithm, like this is going to hit for this demographic very specifically. Like, so I'm sure they have, that's why Amazon can just say The Boys is renewed for 2 seasons, because they already know. Like once that first season comes out, they're like, we got him. It's over. Like, get the fuck out of here. So yeah, okay, cool. Again, I haven't finished the first season, but I don't see any reason not to. So second season works for me. More topics. Scary movie reboot is in the works because everyone is out of ideas. So apparently, the Fast and Furious and Sonic the Hedgehog producers are going to do another scary movie franchise. Okay. It's in the works at Paramount and Miramax, with the production expected to begin this fall. Fast and Furious producer Neil Moritz will produce the new scary movie, and while the glory days of those once frequent parody titles have been and gone, it seems Paramount is willing to take another stab at skewering the horror genre. Parody movies are dead and gone for a reason. They're not funny.
Yeah, this isn't like The Blackening, which was a horror comedy.
Yes.
This is like Scary Movie, like Movie 43, like right. And that humor just doesn't work on me. It worked on me as a kid, and not even those particular movies, but like no, never. Because when I was a kid, I used to like stuff like Airplane, right? And that's not the Scary Movie, lampooning type movies.
Right.
So yeah, these movies just never, this type of humor just never, I don't get it. I don't get the humor. It's like you're taking, I get the idea of taking someone else's work and kind of, poking fun at it. Like we do it all the time. But I don't know if it's because they're trying to cater to the lowest common denominator and try to get and writing jokes that they think the most people are going to laugh at. But like none of this shit is funny. None of it.
It feels like comedy by like consensus. Does that make sense?
It feels like, quite frankly, it feels like comedy by a machine, by AI, right? Just taking things from other properties and then trying to make them funny, and they've never been funny to me. So
I've never found the Scary Movie franchise funny. And look, plenty of people did. Clearly, they made lots of money.
They made like 4 or 5 of them, right?
Yeah, something like that. In terms of box office, the franchise has done well. The first installment grossing $278 million on a $19 million budget. From there, the sequels earn...
That's another reason they're making them.
Yeah, they're cheap. $141 million, $220 million, and $178 million, and then $78 million, respectively. I hate to say it, I think that people are way too cynical for these movies. Like the level of cynicism from moviegoers is at an all-time high. I don't think this stuff works. I think you can try, but I think you'd be better off making this extremely low budget. If you can make one of those, like 19 million feels like a lot. Like if you could do it for half that, then I would say it's worth it. But stuff like The Blackening and things like that was actually legitimately very funny. Even that is not going to have wide appeal because it was very funny because it was aiming at a very small, not very small, but a smaller demographic and nailing that. Right?
It was shooting for a very specific demographic.
Yes.
And that demographic doesn't necessarily have the numbers, right? Whereas these movies, they try to be for everybody, but their jokes are so base, and I don't even know if I'm using that word correctly. I'm not using it the way hip people do it. No. I'm using it as like base, as like the bottom,
base level.
Yeah, base level, and that's how old I am. That's probably why I don't get these fucking movies. And they're not. Yeah, man, it just doesn't do it, man. It doesn't do it for me. No. Doesn't do it for me. It's like the way Terrence describes Good Times. He bit the bullet and watched like 5 episodes of that show. And I agree with him in that I don't necessarily mind the stereotypes, right? Stereotypes exist for a reason. I don't necessarily like to see them, but I don't mind them. But he said his biggest problem with the show is that it's not funny. And it didn't look funny.
No.
I mean, like it's got a he described a scene where like one of the characters is singing the old theme song and a cockroach is singing it with him. Like
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Again, I saw enough. For half the trailer, I saw enough.
You didn't make it the whole trailer.
it felt like it's like 2.5 minutes. I was like, this is too long. It felt like white people making fun of poor black people, where that's not what the point of the original show was. Now I get it. It could be something else and everything else. And oh, you're being sensitive about it. Yeah, that's fine. But the whole purpose of the original Good Times was showing black people struggling, but they still had their humanity, and it was funny, and there was a lot of sort of inside jokes and things like that about being black in that time and everything else. It's not that white people can't enjoy it. I'm sure there was plenty of white people who enjoyed it. Fucking Norman Lear helped create it.
Right.
So
white guy helped create it.
Right. So I'm not mad at that. But he was never lampooning black people in the show. Like that was not the purpose. Right. There are things that were funny that happened in it. Of course, it was like a family comedy, but they were never making fun of them. Right. They were not like, ha ha, you're poor and dumb. Like it was never the point of the show. And I felt like whoever watched the show and then tried to translate it into this thought that that's what was happening because they were laughing. They weren't laughing with the characters through certain things. They were laughing at them. And this show felt like they're just laughing at poor, seemingly uneducated black people. And I'm like, it's 2024. Go fuck yourself. Like that's how I feel about it right now. It's like, and it's not like, I don't mind you laughing with people or whatever, but like, I don't know. It just feels shitty. And like, I don't like the idea of like people like Seth MacFarlane making shit like this and making fun of poor black people and like laughing at them. I'm like, bitch, half of your fucking team voted for the dumbest person on the fucking planet for president. I don't want to hear anything about us being dumb. You know what I mean? Like, that's my attitude at this point. So yeah, nah, fuck that show. I'm never watching it. I don't need to give it a chance. Half the trailer was enough for me. Like, fuck off.
Didn't even get to the drug dealing baby, yo.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I saw the Dave Chappelle skit years ago, like, and that was actually funny. So, like, nah, no. And I'm sure people would be like, "Oh, you're being too sensitive about it." All right, well, you watch it, motherfucker. Like, you go watch that dumb shit. It looks bad. It just looks bad. Also, Terrence didn't like the animation style either. He said it was terrible.
Yeah, like you could tell from the trailer, the animation is choppy. Like I'm not a huge fan
not even
of
the style. Like the actual
Right.
animation is bad.
Right. All right.
I'm good. No thanks. All right. Let's see. From there. All right. Do you want to read this story? You put this on the docket.
Yeah, I put this up here. Netflix's new movie chief is tasked with making better films, not necessarily fewer films. As Netflix's new film chief, Dan Lin's mandate is to focus on quality and quantity, right? Like they want to do both. Netflix's CEO, Ted Sarandos, shed light on Lin's strategy as the producer takes over the film duties from Scott Stuber, who announced he was leaving Netflix. Quote, "There is no appetite to make fewer films, but there is an unlimited appetite to make better films, always," Sarandos said during the company's Q1 earnings call. Quote, "Even though we have made and we are making great films, we want to keep making them better, of course." He is responding to a recent New York Times article which reported that Lin aims to, quote, "improve the quality of the movies and produce a wider spectrum of films at different budget levels to better appeal to the varied interest of Netflix's 260 million subscribers." So they have firmly stated that, you know, we still want output, right? We still want a lot of output, right? But you
Keeping
know,
us alive.
we want awards. We want better movies. And we at Netflix are committed to make better, more challenging, varied movies, not regurgitated nonsense.
Okay, let me read the title of the next story. Zack Snyder says he wants to make 4 to 6 more Rebel Moon movies. Grand opening, grand closing. Yo, why did you give this guy the keys to the kingdom? What are you doing? Tomorrow, I don't know if people know this, marks the release of Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scar Giver.
It comes out on the 19th?
Yeah. You had time to watch it?
No, I don't. You know what? I do have time to watch it. I'm just not.
Oh. I'm gonna get right on that. What was supposed to be the concluding chapter of the 2-part saga of Zack Snyder's original universe, or so we thought. He says, quote, I guess 4 more makes sense. 4 or 6 movies, depending. I guess it's whether or not every time we make one of these movies, we make 2. That's the question. That's not the question. That's a terrible question. Here's the thing. We don't need you to make any more of these movies after this. The first one was dog shit. People are going to have to tell me the second one is amazing. I won't believe them, but people are going to have to tell me that. And I'm not seeing it. My time is too precious. No. I refuse to waste any of my time watching these movies. 4 to 6 more of these. These are each getting a director's cut, a Snyder cut specifically, if you will, that it will total between both movies 6 hours of Rebel Moon. No. No.
Here's an interesting paragraph from this article from this website, this fly-by-night website called Forbes. Despite its high profile and high cost, Rebel Moon has not broken Netflix's top 10 original movie list in terms of viewership. Red Notice is on top with, Jesus Christ, 239,900,000 views. Number 10 is Extraction with 135,700,000 hours.
Which one was Extraction?
The Thor.
Oh,
the Thor movie.
Yeah. I never finished the second one. I was really enjoying it. Those movies, it's exhausting.
Those movies are dumb fun, man. Those movies are dumb.
The first one was
fun.
great. I gotta watch the second one. Extraction, the first one was dope. I really, really enjoyed that.
As of March of this year, Snyder said that Rebel Moon had about 80 or 90 million views, which he said made it more watched than Barbie, using some streaming math, shall we say. That's not me. That's me quoting Forbes.
Wait, they say streaming math. I hope there's an icon that they were just like.
I mean, there's an ellipsis. They're saying using some streaming math.
Yeah, bro. Nobody saw your movie more than they saw Barbie. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's very silly. That's very silly.
Oh man. Rebel Moon's 2 films cost $166 million to make, which is actually much cheaper than other blockbusters. But it's still a significant investment for Netflix. It seems likely that Part 2 will get fewer viewers than Part 1. This is Forbes saying this. So is Netflix really going to keep throwing money at this IP, which has been poorly received by almost everyone except its existing Snyder fans? This is Forbes saying this, not me. That seems unlikely. In the larger scheme of Snyder's overall catalog, this is an extremely poorly reviewed film with a 21% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 51% audience score, some of his lowest marks. My gut tells me that after this and the two R-rated cuts, Rebel Moon is done. This is Forbes saying this. And then Snyder will have his fans rally to try and get more. Maybe a third film is not entirely out of scope, but 4 to 6, come on. There's just no way. This is Paul Tassi from Forbes, someone who I actually trust. Because I've read a lot of his articles and I trust his views on technology, video games, and pop culture. Yeah.
That's just hilarious. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, from a movie perspective, I don't get it because, again, that first movie was bad. Like, legitimately very bad. Very boring film. From a business perspective, we literally just read an article where they're like, we want quality over quantity. We still want quantity, but we want quality over quantity. This ain't it, Chief. Like, this is not it. Look, there's a real thing here that is worth talking about, which is Netflix has a uniquely large blind spot for quality sci-fi. Like, every sci-fi thing that they've ever put out has been almost exclusively garbage. All of it.
Yeah, which is the exact opposite of a streamer that we're going to talk about later, Apple TV Plus.
Yeah, they haven't missed. Like, they have.
Their sci-fi is on point.
In actuality, everybody's like, how do they keep getting it right? Because sci-fi is legitimately difficult. Hey, let me rephrase that. Interesting sci-fi is legitimately difficult to do, right? Whether it's sort of hard sci-fi or, sort of fantasy sci-fi. What is that?
You know what they're doing? You know what they're doing, right? They're taking well-received or legendary science fiction books and adapting them.
Yeah.
And it strikes me and no, a little bit of offense to Snyder. He's ripping off Star Wars, like
that'll never work. That'll never work.
Like it's not that difficult, but you got to get. There's a certain type of person that reads like hard sci-fi, and then that person has to be able to translate it to a mass audience. And yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, but it's I'm saying the Snyder Cut crowd don't seem like a bunch of book readers is what I'm saying.
And you're still quoting Forbes at this point. But you're 100% correct, right? Like, I haven't had a chance to watch more of Constellation. I only watched a bit of the first episode, and my wife got too scared. She was like, "This is kind of freaking me out." I was like, "Damn it, I really want to watch this. Go to bed." But they don't miss. And look, at the same time, like, yeah, they are adapting these, legendary sci-fi stories and stuff like that. But like, look at Dune. People, you can't do Dune. You can't do Dune. Nah. Nobody did. Like, it takes a different type of director or different type of showrunners to go after this type of material. Like, the difference between Rebel Moon and, let's say, the trailer we're going to talk about, Dark Matter, it is quite literally the difference in audiences too, right? Like, there's not going to be a lot of people. Like, you can watch Rebel Moon while folding laundry, on the phone, like, you can do a bunch of stuff. They're shooting. Like, who cares? You can't watch the show Dark Matter like that. Like, you are locked in. You are focused on what's on screen. You can't do that with with Severance, right? Like, these are shows. The best way I can describe it is these are put down your phone shows, right? You got to really be into it. And I think Snyder is shooting for base, as in basement, sort of level of sci-fi, right? It's just visceral. Like, these visuals are cool, man. These visuals are cool. And incidentally, in Rebel Moon, they weren't. But these visuals are cool. That's all he's aimed at. And if he can get you to, like, have that feeling of, like, these visuals are awesome, then he's got you. Like, that's kind of how it feels like. Like, look, and I'm a victim of that too, right? in Batman versus Superman, which I think is a terrible fucking movie. There is a scene in that movie that is just so viscerally well shot, right? Like or set up that I cannot help but love that scene. They're in the middle of fighting Doomsday. Like, I don't know why you changed the design. He was halfway there. But they're in the middle of fighting Doomsday. That was the moment where Doomsday kind of comes crashing down from space. And they had nuked Doomsday and Superman in space, right? And like Superman is looking all fucking skinny and shit. And Doomsday has fallen down and he's fighting, like he's back fighting Wonder Woman and Batman. And they show Wonder Woman standing there getting ready to take on Doomsday. And in the distance, you see a sonic boom in the sky and Superman comes out of the atmosphere and tackles Doomsday. It is a wonderfully looking scene. It just looks awesome. You're like, holy shit. But then you realize everything else is garbage. Everything else is garbage. The scene is muddied as fuck. The color palette is terrible. It's dark. It's way too dark. All of that. But the visceral reaction of hearing that sonic boom and seeing him come out of you're like, oh, but you miss all of the other shit that's wrong in that scene. And how Batman is kind of useless in that scene. As badass of a character as he is, he's just like, I gotta get out of here. And he's just diving out of the way the whole time. Right? So there's, Snyder's whole thing is if he can hook you in a second, if he can hook you with one moment, then people, they don't pay attention and start to kind of look at all of the problems that he has. Hey, look, it looks awesome to have this hot chick fighting a bunch of giant ninjas in Sucker Punch. Cool. What happens after that? I don't know, man. It was really kind of dumb. And I don't remember. Exactly. It's really stupid. So 4 to 6 of these, I'm good.
Chicks getting a lobotomy or something? I don't know.
Movie's about rape, guys. There's a lot of rape in that movie. It's weird. So yeah. I don't need this. I'm not watching the second movie, and I'm certainly not going to watch 4 or 5 more of these. Get fucked.
Yeah. No.
All right, last in topics. Quentin Tarantino says he is no longer making The Movie Critic his last film. I think he's just kind of walking away from the film altogether. And look, I've seen other articles kind of about this and saying that there's a lot of pressure of making this last film and, because you got to go out on a bang, right? You got to fucking nail it. Here's an idea. I don't believe you. I think you love movies too much. I do.
You don't believe that this movie is shelved, or you don't believe that he's going to stop at 10?
I don't believe he's going to stop at 10.
Okay. Yeah, I believe him when he says the movie, I'm not feeling it anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I believe that. But I don't believe that he's going to end.
Also, you know how you mitigate that? You know how you mitigate some of that pressure? Don't announce that this is going to be your last movie ever. Come on, yo. Don't say it.
Yeah, you make a great movie and you're like, everybody loves it, critically acclaimed, and then you announce, that was it. I'm done. That's when you do it. I'm going to make 10, and everyone's like, because they're going to shit on the movie anyway, right? People are going to take umbrage with you doing your last movie, and then that's their last opportunity to really stick it to.
Or it'll be the opposite, right? I was thinking it'll be the opposite, and people will laud it because they know it's going to be his last, and his diehard fans are going to be super emotional about it, and they're not going to be able to analyze the movie critically.
Yeah, that's also possible too.
They're gonna fall in love because look, you either like these movies or you don't. There is nobody who's maybe I kind of like Pulp Fiction. You generally like it or you don't.
Yep.
And even with some of his individual movies, right? I'm not a huge Jackie Brown person because I was never into blaxploitation like he was, and but yeah, I don't know if he's I don't know. He's a weird guy, man. He's another weirdo artist that if the mood strikes him and he gets inspired, looking at some feet or something like that, he'll make another movie beyond the 10. But
Yeah, well, I think so.
yeah, but just
I
like don't announce that this is going to be your last ever movie. Just don't announce it. You see all these old ass directors making movies and shit.
well, and that's his whole thing is he doesn't want. He was basically saying you don't get better as you age, right? He doesn't want to have that like really shitty weird comedy or something like that that just doesn't work. And I'm like, yo, Martin Scorsese is 1,000 years
Martin,
old.
yeah, Martin Scorsese is not getting worse. Like he's not.
No,
You say what you want about his movies. They might not be about a bunch of Italian gangsters anymore, which is why people don't like. He's branching out. He's telling other stories,
right,
but they're not bad. He just got nominated for a fucking Academy Award.
right.
Like and he seems like the type of person. Tarantino. He seems like the type of person that is not going to half-ass,
Anything.
whatever movie he decides that he wants to do.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, that's kind of weird. I mean, look, do what you want, dude, but like, just don't announce that it's your last movie.
yeah.
That's all.
I mean, look, 2013, very famously, one of my favorite directors, Steven Soderbergh. I'm done. I'm burnt out. I'm retiring. I'm going to quote take up painting and maybe do some playwriting. And then he unretired and made a bunch of great films. Like, look,
Yeah,
maybe he's feeling a little, burnt out and wants to take a break. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. It's fine. But I can't imagine Tarantino walks away from filmmaking, dude. He loves it too much. He is
yeah,
he is a true film fanatic, dude. Like he is. Have you ever listened to him talk about film? Like that
yeah,
dude knows so much. And I know that it's like the trope is to say, oh, he just copies everything, whatever. What you're missing is, no, he's not copying it. He loves it so much that he's like, dude, I want to show people like and remind them of this like obscure little film I saw in 1983 that 4 people saw. Like he loves filmmaking, dude. He loves it so much. That is a true passion for him. Like he did a thing where he was on like, I don't know, it was like Jimmy Kimmel or one of those. And he was blindfolded and they would just read the back of like the VHS box of obscure movies from like the 60s, 70s, and like maybe the 80s and have him name the movie, yo. Like, didn't name the actors. And it was like, this. And they were, dude, I had never heard of any of these movies. And he was just like, oh, that's, it's got that one guy in it who was in this and is it fucking Schoolyard Murder? And they're like, that's correct. Like, yo, his movie came out like 1981 and 7 people saw it. And there was nobody famous in it. Like, that dude knows and loves movies. He kind of cut his teeth working in a video store or whatever, because of course. And like, he loves this shit. I just do not see him walking away. Whatever you think of the guy's films, like, I think the guy is a real talent. I think he's got an unhealthy love of feet. Personally, I find that to be disgusting. But other than that, I think the guy has an ability to make some pretty compelling and fun movies. So I haven't watched True Romance in a really long time. Speaking of his work,
yeah.
but
Didn't he write that?
he just wrote it. Yeah, that was one he did not, in fact, direct, but it exists in his universe anyway. So yeah, look, man, I don't believe you. Like that's the best I can come up with. Like, nah, I don't think you're gonna retire at all. I think you're lying. I think you believe it. And I'm happy for you that you believe it, but I don't believe you.
Yeah, I've seen this happen in wrestling too many times, where people are like, "Oh, I can't retire." And look, in those cases, it's because their bodies can't do it, right? And
Right.
even then, they still come back.
Right.
It's like body be damned, because either they love it, they're addicted to wrestling, or they're addicted to the adulation, or both. And
Or they're broke. There's also
or they're broke and they're doing Car Shield ads. Woo! And
wow, really?
yeah, bro. Ric Flair's broke. All that limousine riding and jet flying and came back on your ass. Save your money, folks.
Yeah, I guess he wasn't having a hard time keeping those alligators down. Still one of the greatest clips of all time. Yeah, that's nuts. I guess he just drank it all. Like that dude had a real problem with alcohol. Wow.
Well,
Yikes. All right. We don't have any what the fuck stories this week, but we're gonna go right into trailers. Look, first things first. Dark Matter. This is an upcoming series on Apple TV. We mentioned that a little bit earlier when we just were wanting to be dicks about Zack Snyder's garbage movies. This looks incredibly well done. So this is streaming May 8th, so 3 weeks. It's about a man who is married. He's got this great life, him and his wife and their son. And he gets abducted, and he wakes up and his entire life is different. And he's got like a different wife, and his son's not there, but he's still conscious of what's happening. And it's sort of this idea of like he created this in this world that he's in now. He created this box that allows him to go into it and see the many versions of his life, right? It's multidimensional, I guess. And so from the trailer, he comes to find out that the person who kidnapped him was a version of him from this other universe. And so he's trying to get back. I think this looks dope. Like this looks really interesting.
Yeah, this looks really good. Physicists kidnapped, sent to a parallel universe in which another version of his life unfolds, basically because of the butterfly effect. And apparently, this is based on a very popular novel that has a 4.1 out of 5 on Goodreads. So people really like it. Looks super interesting.
The audiobook is available on Amazon, or excuse me, on Spotify. I'm gonna add it.
There you go. So, looks really good, man. I've been looking for something to watch with the wife, and if I can get her, she likes science fiction, but for some fucking reason, she won't watch Severance.
Why?
At this point, she's doing it just to needle me. At this point,
that's crazy. That's crazy. I would be furious with her.
It's like putting a drop of poison in your coffee every morning. That's what she's doing to me. Like, every day out watching Severance.
She's like, good morning. Like, hey, good morning. I'm never watching Severance. Why did you do that? It's just mean. It's just mean. That's funny. Yeah, look, this I think looks really fucking interesting. I really think so. So, okay, cool. I do think you're absolutely right. Apple TV, they just, when it comes to sci-fi, man, they got the exact opposite problem of Netflix. Like they can't stop getting it right. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Netflix is like, have you seen Three Body Problem? No, nobody did. No one cared.
I actually kind of want to watch it because I want to see what that. Because again,
it actually has decent reviews on Rotten Tomatoes.
I want to see it. I hear it's not as good as the book, but I don't have any reference point. So I actually want to see it because it does seem like it's on the better end. And look, don't get me wrong. I'm not some uppity ass, sci-fi person. I love science fiction, and I love schlocky science fiction. Right? It just. But, I'm just calling it like I see it.
Wait. It's a series. Ugh.
Yeah, it's a series. It's not a movie. Yeah.
8 hours of this? 8 hours? By the way, there's a new Jimmy Carr stand-up is out. Gotta watch that.
Oh, all right. On Netflix?
Yeah, Natural Born Killer. Hell yeah. Somebody's going to get mad about it. They're just jokes, everybody. They're just one-liner jokes. All right, next up is a trailer for Hitman. There's a new trailer for this. This is starring Glenn Powell. Look, I think this looks really, really fun. This is Richard Linklater's upcoming film, where Glenn Powell plays a fake hitman. So the whole idea is that he's a boring kind of loser, and he pretends to be. He does all of these different costume changes and everything to pretend to be a fake, like to pretend to be a hitman in front of other people, so they think he's like impressive or whatever for whatever reason. I'm not exactly sure. Seems like he works for a group of people. Yeah, this actually looks really interesting. It looks kind of.
I don't know. I might check it out. I'm in no rush to watch it. It feels like, it's Friday, the kids are in bed and we got nothing else to watch. So let's watch this. And if that's the case, then sure.
Yeah. Glenn Powell looks really short in this trailer, but apparently he's 6 feet.
He's 6 feet tall.
Yeah, according to Google. Because there's a moment where he's standing in front of like a van, and I was like, yo, he looks mad short here. But yeah. Yeah, they say now that's Hollywood 6 feet, which I think I'm probably Hollywood 6 feet too. If I'm because isn't Tom Cruise like billed at? I feel like he's billed at like 5'8". I'm like, he's 5'6". Like he's not a tall guy. Might even be shorter than that.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I'm taller than Glenn Powell. I'm just putting it out there.
There you go. Anything, as you say, anything's possible when you lie.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's the one who's lying, not me. Yeah. Remember that. Last but certainly not least, Transformers 1. So this I thought was actually going to be live action, but it turns out it's animated. This is kind of the story of Optimus Prime before he becomes Optimus Prime and Megatron when they were still friends. And they're just like worker bots, and they don't even have the power to transform. This is aimed like solidly at kind of younger kids, maybe 10 or 12 years old. I'm not mad at it for kids. Like, this is fine. It looks kind of goofy, to be honest.
Yeah, look, I don't mind animation. I like it. Sometimes I prefer it because you can do a little more and you are not taken out of it. You can do fantastical shit and not be taken out of it. Like bad CGI can take you out of a movie, a live action movie. But, if the boy wanted to go see this, or if I want to take him to the movies, I would take him to see it. But this is not something that I would go out and watch on my own accord, like that Ninja Turtle movie, which again is also for children. Mutant Mayhem. It's for children, but I love the Ninja Turtles so much that and I don't have that love for Transformers. I'm sure if you were some 40-something-year-old who knows that Optimus Prime's name was Orin Pax, then sure, you'll probably be into it. But
we know you're listening.
But the voices are kind of killing me.
Hemsworth and Brian Tyree Henry.
Yeah, Hemsworth and Brian Tyree Henry. It's fine. I know they're younger versions of the characters, and it's fine. This is not for me.
It is kind of funny, the idea that they would look older or younger, like they're robots.
Right.
Why would their voices change? They're robots. But I mean, that it's fine. I get it. Also, Scarlett Johansson is Keegan-Michael Key are also doing voice acting here. So,
Is he Bumblebee or whatever? Is Keegan-Michael Key Bumblebee?
I'd imagine he probably is.
All right. And there's RC. I think that's RC.
Yeah, I think so.
And all right. I mean, I'm only interested in the split, right? Like, I'm only interested in like the story of those two guys, of those two machines not being friends anymore.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah, this is not for me, man.
No.
I was a little disappointed when I saw that it was animated. Someone put it into my head that this was a live action,
Yeah.
a live action
I'm the
show.
idiot. I'm the idiot. Oh, the Transformers movie, the 1986 movie, is on YouTube for free. That's cool. It's been a long time since I've seen that. And then you're gonna cry. Yeah, look, it's.
I didn't cry. I didn't cry because I had a father at home. Sorry, guys.
In 1986. I didn't have emotions. In fairness, but yeah, look, it's it's solidly for kids. It looks like it would work really for sort of teenager, like young teenagers or preteens, or or like younger than that kids. That's fine. I don't need to show my daughter this trailer because I don't need to see this, and she's not into Transformers, so she don't give a fuck. She just keeps asking me, "Are they making any more Moana movies and all the other Disney shit she likes to watch?" So it's fine.
Well, what can you say except they are?
Yeah. I did teach her that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles say "cowabunga, dude," and she thought that was pretty cool. So I was like, "Start them young. Start them young." She was like, "Oh, okay. Like, I'm gonna add this one to my repertoire." I was like, "All right, cool, you got it." All right,
Yeah,
that is it.
right next to bioluminescence.
Yeah, that is a word she knows and has known for fuck since she was 2, which is weird. I'm like, all right. Look. She's now into trash talk when she plays air hockey with her dad. So I was like, all right, cool. I was like, all right. She called me a butthead. I was like, where did you even learn that word? Where'd you learn it? And then I scored
watching Saturday Night Live, man.
Yeah,
She was watching Saturday Night.
Yo, that clip is fucking hilarious.
I saw this shit live, man. And it was. You can obviously tell that like they did not show her the Heidi Gardner the makeup. And,
no way.
Yeah, she fucking broke, yo.
Yeah, that's the legendary break. She was just stop for a minute, please, for the love of God. Yeah, they had left the scene and she was still losing it. Like that shit was funny, man. That was really good. Yeah. Okay, that is it for us. We will see you guys next time.
See ya.